The Charlotte Hornets are currently rolling on a 7-game winning streak, and they've been outscoring teams by over 19 points with Brandon Miller on the floor. And then on top of that, he's putting up a super efficient 23 points per game. In this video, we're going to look at what exactly has made Miller so impactful on the court, and why I think he has the ability to be one of the most complete scorers in the NBA. Now, first and foremost, Miller has been an absolute flamethrower from behind the line, where over his last 10 games, he's shooting over 45% with really high volume. And what makes Miller so valuable as a perimeter scorer is that he can find these shots in a variety of ways. First, when spotting up, Miller has really good mechanics off the catch, always having his feet set and getting the ball up into his shot in one smooth motion. Those quick mechanics allow him to capitalize on really small shooting windows. But then along with that, Brennan also has the footwork to get into shots off the move. He can blast off pin down screens and rise up like he's in a telephone booth, or work off sets below the arc, navigate uphill, and find his feet for balanced shots. The movement here is subtle but very effective, where as the ball is coming downhill, notice how he's going to relocate deeper behind the line, and this gives him more airspace to get this jumper off over Victor Wembanyama. The Hornets also like to use Miller as a screener on the ball, and this is where that movement shooting becomes a big factor. When moving towards the ball, you'll often see him ghost out and work behind the line. Notice here how his feet don't stop moving until he receives his pop-out pass. So Miller being accurate from 3, having smooth mechanics, and being able to get into his jumper on the move is plenty to make him a great off-ball scoring threat. But with the ball, Miller also has the tools to generate shots off the dribble. And granted, his accuracy on pull-up threes is substantially lower, but this does add another wrinkle to his outside scoring. First, he has really good balance and flow when elevating going both right and left. In pick and roll, if he gets any kind of breathing room, he has no problem finding his space for efficient one dribble pull-ups. I love his footwork here, where he's just going to cross ball to his left. And look how he's going to let the ball hang as he brings his feet around and gets himself angled to the rim. Same kind of shot here, where he sets up this screen with a between cross, and when he feels that space, he can again pick up on 2 and rise up. So again, while Miller does have the tools to create and make some of these looks, I still think ideally you want the numbers from here to go up. I think this year and going forward, he's only going to be getting more reps out of isolation and pick and roll. And if he can find a way to get his numbers on pull-up threes to be over 35%, I think that will bring his scoring and overall impact to the next level. Now, when looking at Miller's scoring from below the arc, I think he's made some legit improvements in the mid-range. Because he's tall, lengthy, and has good lift into his shot, he already has the foundation to find these looks. But recently, I think his patience and control from these spots has really improved. In pick and roll, he can turn the corner and veer back into contact, attack hard downhill, and slam the brakes to create space, or use some different deceleration steps. This is one of my favorite shots, where he first drives into contact going left, to then gather and find his base for a 1-foot jumper. His stability on this play is elite, where he again drives left and steps into contact, but watch him hit the pause button on that right foot, finding this window to elevate. So at age 23, I think Miller already has the foundation to be a really good in-between scorer. He's got great elevation, he's getting more patient, plus he's finding ways to initiate contact and create space. Obviously at age 23, there are parts of his game that do need to be ironed out, but from just a raw numbers and film standpoint, there is no denying that his game from here is on the rise. And the same could also be said for Miller's scoring in the paint, where first and foremost, he's a rocket athlete around the basket. In transition, he's an easy above the rim lob threat, where he can parachute up and play a level above the defense. Then on the floor, if he gets any kind of airspace in front of the rim, he's going to be creating content for House of Highlights. So again, if Miller is playing in the open court, or has open space in front of the basket, that verticality is enough to take care of the rest. But when he has to deal with multiple levels of defenders in front of him, that's where I think he has some room for improvement. When coming downhill, I wouldn't say Brandon is the most physically imposing driver. He'll often avoid contact and really lean on his length and lift to find windows around the defense. And this generally leads to less efficient shots. Off the dribble here, he makes a nice hezzy between. But after taking one dribble downhill, I would like to see him get into Al Horford's body and try to create a straight line angle towards the basket. But he gets to a quick pickup and rushes up this tough underhand scoop shot. Now, because Miller can shoot off the dribble, has a sticky handle, and good lift around the basket, he can find ways to work around that lack of strength. If he's able to beat the first line of defense, and the weak side is late to rotate over, he still has plenty of game to get points around the basket. And it is important to note that Miller off the bounce is great at leveraging the pull-up shooting. We'll see him catch and take one dribble, then skip off that back foot. And this both lifts up his level and allows him to get more of a burst into his drive. This move here is nasty, where he first attacks to his right and brings the ball behind. But from here, he has the footwork and ball control to tap dance back behind the line to then drop back down into a crossover. So going forward for Miller, I think his strength is going to be the biggest area of improvement. I think his shot making, ball skills, and explosiveness is already enough right now to make him a pretty effective 3-level scorer. But if he can get more comfortable initiating and absorbing contact, I think they'll take his mid-range and paint scoring to the next level, plus put him on the free throw line more. But still, considering how Miller can score and create shots from all 3 levels, while having a ton of scoring ability off the ball, I think the Charlotte Hornets right now have an elite all-around scorer, who could develop into something special down the line. So naturally, with all that scoring juice, you're going to be pulling heavy gravity from the defense. And no matter what position a player plays, if you're pulling multiple bodies, it is your responsibility to make the right play. And as a playmaker, I think Miller has shown some really positive signs. First, in pick and roll, he's pretty much checked all the reads. He can find the roller, snap skip passes, plus see the plays develop behind him. This is a really advanced delivery here, where it's a left-hand hook pass off a live dribble. And while putting pressure on the defense, Miller could also make quick reads off a live dribble. Look how he pulls the backline up here, opening up the dunker spot for this dime. And Brennan is also getting comfortable using his eyes to manipulate the defense. Look how he's going to turn his head and sell the pass up to the wing, giving Con Knipple more time and space in the corner here. That being said, there are still some elements to Miller's passing that are a little bit raw. First, if he receives any kind of aggressive coverage at pick and roll, he is very quick to pick up and look to pass, as opposed to probing and really pulling the defense. Take this play for example. As the big man steps up towards the level, the top tier playmakers will extend their dribble, which both pulls the double team out and forces this backline defender to make a decision. But again, the quick pickup and pass lets the defense off the hook. There's also many times where Miller will carelessly expose the ball when making deliveries. He tries to attempt a chest pass here from 40 feet out to the roller. So while I think Miller's passing does have some room for improvement, I don't think it's really going to make or break his game right now. I think his pros for sure outweigh his cons offensively. The guy has the tools to be an elite shooter off the ball. He already has the foundation to create and make shots off the dribble. And with each passing month, he's looking more comfortable in the mid-range and around the basket. There's only a handful of wings right now in the NBA who have this much versatility on and off the ball.